Carson was comparing the Iowa stuff to what happened with Benghazi. Not fun. And to me, that seems to really dilute the importance of actually what happened in Benghazi. All of this began with tweets from CNN people. Chris Moody first. There was a Rubio supporter, Conrad Close, who had sent out a tweet that said the Rubio campaign is saying that Carson's dropping out, possibly picking up votes from Carson. CNN's Chris Moody was the first to tweet, said Carson won't go to New Hampshire, South Carolina, but instead will head home to Florida for some R&R. He'll be in D.C. Thursday for the National Prayer Breakfast. Then Chris Moody tweeted, Ben Carson's campaign tells me he plans to stay in the race beyond Iowa no matter what the results are. Then after those tweets, CNN broke the story on air. After that, CNN's and this was about 6:44, CNN broke the story on air. This was a full hour after almost an hour after the initial tweets took place. Then the lead on CNN at 6:50 tweeted out the story. And then at 6:52, CNN Politics tweeted out the story. At 6:56, Ted Cruz sent an email to a few precinct captains, not everybody, saying that the press is reporting Carson's taking a break after Iowa. It said, breaking news. The press is reporting that Dr. Ben Carson is taking time off from campaign trail after Iowa and making an announcement next week, which they did. And you know what the announcement was? It was the fact that his New Hampshire staff he's cutting 50 people off of his staff and reducing salaries. That's what the announcement was. It said, please inform any Carson caucus goer of the news and urge them to caucus for Ted. Well, yeah, the media is reporting it. The media is reporting it. They're all over it. And that was just a precinct, folks. Did it say Carson was dropping out? No, it did not say that absolutely at all. It said exactly what the CNN report said and exactly what the Carson campaign told CNN. So then there was, oh my gosh, Steve King. It was at 7:20 with Steve King. He tweeted, Carson looks like he is out. Iowans need to know before they vote. Most will go to Cruz, I hope. And that's what he had said. And then Chris Moody, 7:30, finally clarified and said, oh no, he's making a brief stop at home in Florida tonight. An hour and a half after Moody had first tweeted, and Moody had heard via Jake Tapper that it came directly from the Carson camp. Right? So this is a nothing burger. It's a total nothing burger. And Cruz's campaign apologized because they said, well, maybe we shouldn't have told people to, if Carson was leaving a caucus with us. They never said he was dropping out. They never said, there is no proof at all whatsoever that they said he was dropping out. Anyone otherwise, you are lying. And that is disgraceful. You are doing what you're accusing him of. I mean, I get it. If you don't like him, that's great. But you're literally making crap up. So there is not one single person who has stepped forward from the Iowa caucuses to say, oh yeah, Cruz people were there telling us he has dropped out and to go caucus for us. But in fact, there are tweets that's all over Twitter. There are a ton of people who have come out and said, yeah, we were at the caucuses. There have been people who are precinct captains, people who are at caucuses, all this, saying nobody ever did that. No one ever did that. Do you remember back in 2010 when you had Democrats walking with that Acme gavel and they were getting ready to go and sign the Obamacare law, and there was the allegation that someone in the Tea Party had called John Lewis a racial slur, and yet with all of the video cameras everywhere, nobody was able to provide any shred of proof. Jesse Jackson Jr. was walking directly behind John Lewis and was recording everything on his phone. You're telling me that his phone didn't pick it up? Isn't it interesting that he didn't actually produce any video footage from his phone, because it would have picked it up, that he was called a racial slur and spit on, and it was a total lie. Well, people were outraged that someone would impugn the character of grassroots by making up a story like that without proof. Well, this is the exact same thing, except I see people who've been impugned before, and now they're doing it to somebody else. I don't understand this. What the hell is wrong? What has happened to the conservative movement? Good night. You can be I can like a candidate without hating somebody else and having to run them down and make up stories about them. Good grief. This is just, it boggles my mind. And yeah, caucus goers, they spend all day doing this. They want their votes to count. And everyone's like, well, who quits in the middle of a caucus? Mike Huckabee? Literally minutes before this story broke, Mike Huckabee announced in the middle of the caucus that he was dropping out. Yeah, he did it. And then when you hear something like this, right after, yes, I can't even believe we're still talking about this. This story is being used and being exploited by people who lost, and they're mad about it. Just ridiculous.